Stephen Hillenburg was born on August 21st, 1961, in Oklahoma at an army post that his dad worked at, but he didn't really grow up there. He grew up in Anaheim, California. Now, like everyone, during the pandemic, I was looking for a project that would be fun and, keep me sane, and I thought it would be a great idea to try and organize a project to memorialize Stephen Hillenburg in his beloved hometown of Anaheim. Anyone familiar with my channel knows that I have a long history of animation-based philanthropy and community service, so the idea seemed like it would be a lot of fun. I called up the Anaheim Historical Society, and they agreed. The president of the Historical Society, whose name is Kristen Maas, is a just fantastic woman, and she really liked the pitch. She helped me connect a lot of dots throughout this process, and I could not have done any of this without her. And before we did anything, it was very important that I got the blessing of the Hillenburg family. I got in touch with Nancy Hillenburg, who's Stephen's mother, and she liked the idea, and when she asked me where it would go, I told her I had no clue. She recommended Savannah High School in Anaheim. Savannah High School is the high school that Steve attended and graduated from. It's also where Nancy worked with visually impaired students for over 20 years, and I just thought that was a perfect idea. Savannah was a really important part of Steve's life, I soon found out. It was here that he was first encouraged to pursue art by a lot of his teachers, but it was also here, as a teenager, that he first got an interest in marine biology, something that would follow him for the rest of his life and, of course, would influence his most important creation. Nancy also got me in touch with Karen Hillenburg, Stephen's wife. And the more observant fans out there might pick up the fact that Karen Hillenburg was the namesake for Karen Plankton, Plankton's robot wife in the show. In real life, Karen never asked me about the Krabby Patty formula. At least I don't think she did. Karen, Nancy, and I went back and forth for months on what the memorial should be. Originally, I envisioned it as a bench with SpongeBob sitting on it, a lot like the Bob Montana Memorial we have up here in Meredith, New Hampshire, but Karen shot it down. And at first I was a little disappointed about this, until she explained why. Those who knew Steve knew that he was kind, he was quiet, and he was very modest. And a big, flashy memorial might be a good way to commemorate the show, but it wouldn't be true to the man who was behind the show. Thus, we all agreed that a bench, a plaque, and some pineapple-shaped planters would make a beautiful and respectful memorial. The Anaheim Union School District agreed, and the Savannah principal, Michael Pooley, who is one of my new favorite people, was so excited to help us with this project. Karen also got me in touch with the brilliant writer John Osed, a classmate and a lifelong friend of Steve's who collaborated on the plaque's text with me. Not to get ahead of myself here, but this is the final plaque that we put up, and I'd love to read the text to you guys. It says that SpongeBob SquarePants and his pineapple under the sea have roots here at Savannah High School. The world's most lovable goofball and his pals Patrick, Squidward, and Sandy are the brainchild of alumnus Stephen Hillenburg, who, as a member of the class of 1979, began to refine his inventive and visionary talents at Savannah. Steve flourished in art classes and drama club, and as a trumpet player in the school's celebrated jazz and marching bands. Those youthful endeavors, along with a passion for marine biology, helped inspire Steve to dream up the exuberant, inclusive, and big-hearted characters whom we've come to love. Savannah remembers and honors Steve for bringing joy and laughter to generations of fans around the world. And then, unbeknownst to Karen and John, I put their names on the bottom. Hee hee. Now, everybody had questions about the bench. Everybody loves the bench. And the color was all Karen's idea. I gave her a few designs to look over, and she thought that the bright yellow perfectly captured her husband's warmth and goofiness. We also found this great Etsy store. Shout out to G Prince 3D. That guy's awesome. He had these beautiful pineapple house planters that were 3D printed, and we were going to have them go with the bench. We even ordered special 1.5-foot tall ones printed on a strong plastic that wouldn't fade in the sun, and he sent them to us all the way from Israel. By July, roughly a year after the initial pitch, everything was on its way to Savannah for installation. The amazing maintenance staff even poured new concrete and installed the bench and plaque right in the new garden. Mike, Karen, and I decided that a ribbon cutting was in order and set the date for November 18th. I told Karen she'd be welcome to invite anyone she'd like, and on November 8th, 10 days before, I was told by Nickelodeon the entire voice cast was coming. Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, told me that not coming wasn't even an option. I was a little nervous. I'd still never been to this school. It's nearly 3,000 miles away. I have it in my script here that at this part I gulp dramatically, so you get that I'm scared, but it sounds really weird whenever I try to do it, so we'll just skip it.
Here.
What? Bus, train, club.
Another club.
Another club.
No sleep.
Train.
Raya.
everyone. It's the Gruppeteer. I am not in New Hampshire today. I am here in beautiful Anaheim, California at Savannah High School. And what am I doing here? Well, for the last year and a half, I've been working with Stephen Hillenburg's family, as well as Nickelodeon, to have a memorial for him installed right here at the high school that he graduated in. It's the high school where he first became interested in marine biology. And I thought it'd be cool to make a video and show you guys sort of how it all came together, the big presentation that's going to be going on today. There's going to be a lot of voice actors and everything here, so come with me. I know I turn away here as if there's going to be more video. I was the person who was greeting the guests when they came in, and my girlfriend, Christina, was the one who was sort of tending to them in the quote-unquote green room before the event happened. I got to meet everybody beforehand. It was fantastic, and so did many of the staff and students who came in asking for autographs, asking to hang out with them. It was a lot of fun. Now, unfortunately, those pineapple planters that we talked about in the beginning did not end up being used. We actually couldn't attach them in the ground the way that we wanted to. But what we actually did instead was have all of the voice cast sign them and then gave them to the Anaheim Historical Society for preservation. And speaking of the Anaheim Historical Society, Kristen actually found an alumni of Savannah High School who had their own baking company and had them make custom SpongeBob cupcakes for the event. It was fantastic. We enjoyed them the whole time. Completely unbeknownst to us, the student council at Savannah had made these banners and balloons to welcome the Hillenburgs and the voice cast, and it was really just very sweet. After a little bit of mingling, all the guests made their way to the seats. That included not only the voice actors, but so many of the kids who stayed after school to watch the assembly, and we got underway with the dedication.
In honor of Stephen Hillenburg here at Savannah High School. We went back and forth for months. But I knew from the get-go this is something that we wanted to be a part of, and I was super excited for the opportunity for our school and our community. We must have gone, like I said, back and forth for months before landing on the SpongeBob colored bench that you guys see before us over here. And the lovely plaque as well that tells a wonderful story of Stephen's journey. This bench and plaque are great symbols and reminders that you truly can be inspired by an educational experience in school and allows you to follow your heart and your dreams. Again, we're thrilled to have Miss Hillenburg here, your son Clay, the team from SpongeBob SquarePants, the crew, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hansen at this point. But thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
I'm not a teacher, but I'll try with the teacher voice the best that I can. My voice dropped yesterday. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Griffin Hansen. I am the director of the Stephen Hillenburg Memorial Project here at Savannah, and I'm so glad to see how many people came out today to celebrate the life of such an amazing artist. But I can't talk about this project without giving the due thanks to the people who deserve it. First of all, our friend Kristen Maas over there, who will be embarrassed that I call her out, the president of the Anaheim Historical Society, who was the first to entertain my wild idea. The second being the great Mr. Pooley, Michael Pooley right there, who not only keeps the school running so well, we've got some fans, but was also, as he said, someone who I collaborated a lot on with this project. And two very special thanks as well. The first being to Mr. John Osett, who is not here with us today, who was a good friend of Mr. Hillenburg's and actually wrote the text, which we can see there on the placard. He and Stephen were close friends here at Savannah, and I really think that he captured Stephen's memory beautifully. And the biggest thanks of all, goes to the brave and the kind Karen Hillenburg, whose amicability and support through this entire process led to us even being able to stand here today. And speaking of standing here together, there is a team of talented people who are here today with me who are not my bodyguards. They are the cast of SpongeBob SquarePants. They've helped bring the world of Bikini Bottom alive since 1999. Which is before I was born even. Oh. Yes, I know. We have, going down the line here, Mr. Roger Bumpus, the voice of Squidward. We have Mr. Lawrence, the voice of Plankton.
have Mr. Brown, Mr. Clancy Brown, the voice of Mr. Krabs. We have Miss Till, who is the voice of Karen, the robot. We have the voice of Mr. Tom Kenny, who's not only Patchy the Pirate, but SpongeBob himself. And Mr. Bill, he gave me permission to call him Finger Bacon, the voice of Patrick Star. Yes. So throughout this entire process, I have had the amazing opportunity to work with dozens of people who knew Steven. And while I wish I had the time to tell you all the funny stories and heartfelt memories they shared with me, but what stuck with me most was the people I met who'd never met Steven and yet responded so warmly to his life and his memory. People who only knew him through his art, like myself, spoke to me at length about the impact his work had on their lives. People in the animation industry who were inspired to pursue their dreams because of SpongeBob. People in the marine biology field who only got interested in it because of SpongeBob. I worked for some time at a pizza place. The only reason that one of my coworkers was a pizza delivery man was because of SpongeBob. I wish that wasn't true, but it is. Because Steven's legacy is bigger than SpongeBob, and it's bigger than Rocco's. It's bigger than Wormholes or the McKay Award or anything that can be held or watched. Steven's legacy is in his unstoppable creativity and how his imagination has energized people across the world to embrace their inner goofy goober and reach for what they may not have been afraid to reach for. It was here at Savannah High School that Steven's interest for scuba diving and marching band became two instrumental factors in SpongeBob, and may that serve as a lesson to the similarly wired dreamers here at Savannah and beyond, that inspiration is all around us, waiting for someone whose untamed creativity and passion can take, let's say, a kitchen sponge and a starfish and turn it into one of the most successful television shows of all time. At the end of the day, my friends, I am a goofy goober. You are a goofy goober. We are all goofy goobers.
The idea was, after my dedication speech, that anybody who wanted to could come up and have an open forum to talk about Steven and his legacy. I guess somewhat unfortunately, my speech was supposedly so good that nobody else wanted to.
I heard someone else might want to speak here. Not anymore. Any students, staff want to speak and talk about SpongeBob in their life? No worries, I'll put you on the spot.
What do I do?
All right, well, let's cut a ribbon then instead, right?
Yeah.
Though everybody was happy that the voice cast was there, I knew when the time came there was no one else fit to cut the ribbon besides Karen Hillenberg and her son Clay.
Don't run with those guys.
Hand on there. Hand on there.
Together. 1, 2, 3.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do a bench photo.
It was nice enough that the SpongeBob family had stayed around for the dedication and the ribbon cutting and all that, but I more or less expected everybody to sort of thin out afterwards. What happened next was just a miracle. Instead of leaving right away, the voice cast and everybody stayed for an extra 2 hours, speaking to every single kid individually, signing homework binders and notebooks, and doing all the videos you'd want them to do, all the voice messages and silly things like that. Not once did anybody complain or tell me they had to leave. It was just fantastic to not only see how much fun they were having, but how much fun the kids were having. More than anything, I did not want to turn the dedication ceremony into some sort of morbid eulogy. It was a celebration of life for a man who'd had a lot of impact on me and so many other people across the world. And at the end of the day, it turned into a huge party with the SpongeBob and the Hillenburg family generously giving up their time to stay around and talk to so many people about the impact that Steven had had on their lives. I also found out later that it was the first time the SpongeBob family had gotten to meet up since the pandemic began, so it was a fun little reunion as well.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I have no idea what's happening here.
Sorry. No, go ahead, go ahead.
Got it. Sure.
I like that. I'm in college, don't worry, I know what it's like. I go to Absolutely. I'll do the best you can. I'll embellish something. Sure.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Are you trying to get somewhere?
For the kids! It's a giraffe!
We get in a shadow from the studio.
Oh my gosh, look at those. Wow, SpongeBob croc pants. I love it.
I can't stop. Help me.
Hope you have a great birthday. Gary sings happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Bye now.
Hi Nikki, I'm here with Tree. We're just hanging out at school. It's really cool. He's a cool guy. And I just wanted you to stay healthy. Okay? All right.
And of course, like we were saying, it all came from the brain of a guy who went to this very high school, Steven Hillenburg, and he changed all of our lives, and it's so cool being a part of something that is truly multi-generational. SpongeBob's been around for 20-something years. These guys obviously are younger than that by a good handful of years. And then even a lot of their younger siblings still watch SpongeBob, parents and cousins. So, I don't know, for some reason SpongeBob has stayed cool. Like, it's not something that people leave behind them. They take it on to high school, they bring it to college with them. SpongeBob still enjoys such goodwill. It's such a pleasure to be a part of, and that's all because of Steven Hillenburg.
You said it was a napkin? That's how the idea.
Well, he was sort of. It was one of those. It was just this thing that he was sketching, because he was into marine biology.
Right.
So he would just draw, different sea life, and then he drew a sponge, like a sea sponge. And then, just as a gag, he said, what if it looked more like a kitchen sponge?
Right.
And, he worked... Actually, the SpongeBob characters first came to light for him when he was teaching at the Ocean Institute.
Oh, wow.
He was teaching kids
San
there.
Clemente, I think.
Yes, in San Clemente. He was a counselor for kids. And this is way before SpongeBob, the show. He did a little comic book for them called the Intertidal Zone that was all to teach kids about the creatures that live in the tide pools, like tide pool creatures. And there was a little sponge, and there was a crab, and there was a starfish, and it was those characters that kind of, you're not getting this back. It was kind of like those, no, I'm kidding. It was kind of those characters that went on to morph into the familiar cartoon characters. Hey, is this yours too?
Is that yours? You wouldn't miss this today, I'm thinking, right? I mean, when you heard about this today.
Oh God, yes, no. Not showing up was not an option for any of us, and because of pandemic, like you might have heard me saying, it's been a long time since the cast has hung out together in person. It's all been on Zoom, and SpongeBob was one of the rare shows that was still, one of the rare shows left that still does ensemble recordings. We did it like a radio play, love everybody's there at the same time. You're riffing, you're hanging out, and Steve Hillenburg is the guy who allowed that to happen right from the beginning. He brought everybody in, and he was always very generous with, if you guys can think of a better joke or a joke that tops this or a different way to say it, do it.
And he was with you guys when you were doing voices?
He was always in the room with us, always. And he was in there with us right up until he absolutely couldn't be anymore. When he had his ALS. I think coming into SpongeBob recordings and Nickelodeon and being around that, and he would just smile and laugh when he, a lot of the other things that he used to be able to do, he couldn't do anymore. He could still smile and laugh, and it just felt so good to get a laugh out of him. Like, you would make it, ad-lib a joke or something, and you would see him smile and laugh. Like, I'm like, wow. It was always about, we just wanted him to approve of us, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's kind of how it still is.
Amazing. I know you got to get back to
Oh,
it.
thank you, man.
So much.
People were even asking me for videos. I don't think they knew that I was a Z-tier YouTube celebrity. The big takeaway I want people to have from all this is that the project wasn't done by some big coalition or committee. It was a grassroots effort by people with passion, admiration, and respect for Steven's legacy. What I hope this video does is inspire you to research artists, historical figures, or just people you admire either in your own hometown or beyond, and try to find fun ways to honor their memory. Your local historical society is always looking to help. And I hope that this experience can act as a map of sorts for you to achieve your own greatness and help spread a love for whatever your passion is. I can't wait to see what you achieve.